everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kink, the Wellbeing Podcast with no content boundaries. My name's Georgie Parry, and I'm your host. And this week, I'm speaking with Rhys from Green Collar Clothing. He does unique designs on his clothing, and he uses this as a tool to express himself and, show his creativity, which I think's amazing. Rhys talks about how he uses vintage clothing rather than fast production clothing or fast fashion. He goes on to talk about how important his community was when he was first starting out his journey. They'd help him out in many different ways. He leaves us with a lovely poem in keeping with the clothing theme. I used this conversation with Reese to reflect on my own creativity and how I allow that to flow, because for a long time I didn't actually think I was very creative. I'd try different things like art and crafts or origami, but I was always shit at everything. So we can't all be Van Gogh, but if we keep trying different things, we've got more of a chance of finding something that we like enough to stick with. I think the other thing that hinders my creative flow are the negative thoughts. So now I try and catch them as they come and change them to something more positive. I think that's quite important because finding ways to quieten down the negative thoughts and bring positive ones in can make you more creative. And we talk about some of those things in some of my previous podcasts, so I hope you'll check those out. I think the most important thing for me is writing down my thoughts and downloads and doing some journaling, because actually something might seem insignificant at the time, but you go back and you might be able to expand on it and make it into something amazing. And finally, I invite you to do something different. I think new experiences are really, really important in creative flow. And if you did relate to anything in the video, please send me a message or like or subscribe. You know the score. Cheers. Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm speaking with Reese. He upcycles vintage clothing in his own artistic fashion, and Reese is just going to tell us a little bit about his history and background and what led him to upcycle clothes in his own way. What's happening?
What's going on? I was just saying to you then, obviously I went to Barcelona recently. I've been there the last year, and that's when I've been doing a lot of my more creative stuff as far as the clothing's concerned. More extreme stuff with the painting and the customizing. And I was doing a lot of street art out there. I think because in Barcelona, it's hard not to, because it's just everywhere and there's so much gorgeous art in the street.
It's somewhat anti-government at the minute, isn't it? Or
it's there's a lot of activism there, you know what I mean? And you can taste it in the street. And if you speak to people, you'll that's what you'll wind up speaking about. And I met a lot of artists over there. But when I was younger, I used to do a lot of graffiti. And I was really into it, and I wasn't bad at it. My mum used to let me practice in the garden, and I used to go out on missions with my friends and go spray painting and bombing and tagging and stuff. I think like being into hip hop, it's always part of the little scene.
Yeah.
But then I started getting into trouble for some other stuff, so I didn't want to get arrested for spray painting. So I stopped doing it, and I used to customize my own clothes a lot as well. In fact, I even remember having a white hoodie and hat that I painted all over with spray paint when I was like 14 or something. And then, I stopped for a little while and got a job and grew up a bit. And then when I went to Barcelona to pursue the creative side of the brand, I started doing it all again. And I realised it wasn't a new thing. It was something that I've always been doing, really.
Yeah. So the green collar clothing, where did that stem from, and how have you built that up? I've seen that you've been in like some artist markets and stuff like that.
Yeah. To be honest, for a long time, I'm very passionate about fashion. I'm passionate. I'm really against fast fashion. I think clothing is really important. I think it's a massive part of self-expression, and I think it's been commodified in a lot of negative ways. And basically, for a long time, I was everywhere I was going, I was buying vintage clothing and second-hand clothing of like the best quality and the best condition I could find.
Yeah.
Took me a couple of years. I got a really good stockpile, and then I got myself a Depop. And then I was on eBay, and then I started doing a couple of stalls around Liverpool. I'm really lucky in that sense because I had a lot of friends who, let me set up in the likes of Constellations, Hobo Kiosk, or on Lark Lane in the flea market for like next to nothing, basically, sometimes for nothing, just for the fact that my other friends were coming and supporting me, and buying drinks was enough. And made a bit of money doing that. And then it wasn't long. I always had plans to make my own brand as well, so it wasn't long after having all that stuff, like lowest price, best quality, best condition, vintage, second-hand stuff, that I started customizing stuff, tie-dyeing stuff, and painting by hand, some branding onto t-shirts and stuff.
Why do you think that upcycling and vintage clothing has become so important these days?
I think, yeah, like I was saying, like I love fashion, and there's definitely something to be said for stuff that's on the high street, and there's loads of brands I've got a lot of time and respect for. But even younger brands, friends of mine who do stuff that I'm a big fan of, I just didn't want to become another t-shirt brand. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
wanted to take me time, and it did take a long time. And I just don't want to go online and order 25 blank t-shirts, which is, a massive cost to the environment, even though it's going to be cheap for me, and then print the exact same graphic onto all of them and ask a price from my friends and people.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you buy something like that, it doesn't last very long. You know what I mean? You get rid of it. At least the season goes by, you mightn't want to wear it anymore, unless the brand itself has got meaning to you, unless it's a band t-shirt or it's a brand you support, something local, which is great. But I just feel like you could do that onto a second-hand t-shirt. I don't see any reason why every t-shirt has to be the exact same size and fit.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a pile of all different t-shirts that I've personally hand-painted and branded myself. You can look through, find your favourite colour, find your favourite fit, your favourite textile, and then that one would be yours, and it'd be more specific to you, and no one else would have that one. That's what I prefer. I think it's better for the environment, and it's better for fashion in general. You know what I mean? That people aren't looking the same.
What inspires you to get the designs for your t-shirts and your clothing?
To be honest, I started off with like some simple branding with like some simple colours, and it was just like 0151, and I put little slogans. I devoted like the 3 colours, one to myself, one to 2 really good friends of mine, and then I named those. I've still got some of them actually, which I will put up for sale at some stage. And then basically I was doing this thing. I was selling clothes, my own stuff. I was selling second-hand stuff, and I was working a job as well. And I was caring for me, and I had a lot of like commitments in England, and I couldn't do it all at once. You know what I mean? It was difficult to do. I was trying to like start a brand, sell vintage stuff. It was hard work. So what I ended up deciding to do was, which I'm quite lucky that I had the opportunity, and I was in like the financial situation to do it. It took me a long time to save up. Was to just go abroad and focus only on the creative side of things, only on that and nothing else, and then come back and then do the more admin side of things, get a website, advertising, promotion. So then when I was in Barcelona, slowly but surely, I refined a bit of a style. You know what I mean? And it was all about patterns and colours. You can see some of my wall back there.
Yeah.
Some mess that I've spray painted off. And yeah, it started. I went over there with a white pair of Dickies, a white hoodie, and a white cap. And I'd just go to skate spots and places where younger people were hanging out. I'd play music, smoke weed, and just start painting on the clothes, throwing paints at them, making drawings until something recurring stuff came. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Something that seemed prolific, something that made sense.
Yeah.
And then, you kind of go wild a little bit, and then you pull it back and refine it. Then you try something new. And yeah, I think I've come up with this, like I was saying to you earlier, this like box logo where I paint directly into a box, pull away the template, which I can do that by hand now. I would have never thought of that in the beginning, and it took me nearly 8 or 9 months to get to that place. But now, all these blank t-shirts that I've got, I can do something that's like, not only is it different and stands out, and do I like how it looks, but every single one of them is going to be different, and I'm going to paint them all by hand.
That's so cool.
I think originally what I was trying to do, I was trying to create a print. I think I wanted to try and do like some kind of animal print or camouflage myself, and it was difficult. So all these like overlaid squiggly patterns over each other, that became like a print. And then when you box in the print with a frame and refine it, and you put all this chaos and mess into a clean, tidy space, it becomes like almost a logo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how I got there. It took me a while.
Yeah, definitely trial and error, but then obviously you've got your unique kind of print now for people to recognize who you are and what you're about, which is pretty cool. Do you have any advice for anyone who might be starting out on their creative journey or like getting to know themselves in that creative expression?
I mean, yeah, it's like you've kind of, like I said, I was lucky that I could just go to Barcelona and go to Spain and do that and kind of throw caution to the wind. But even, putting the stuff online, recording myself, going and doing these stalls and stuff. And I think, I know what other people say, you've just got to do it because it can be nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can be nerve-wracking to just draw directly onto a piece of paper the first time and show somebody and put it up for sale. And if you're going to create something like you've just said, it's trial and error.
Yeah.
And it's not always going to be exactly what you think it is in the beginning. There's no
Uh,
way that I thought what I'm doing now was going to be what it was in the beginning. I didn't know where I was going with it. So you've just got to try your best.
yeah.
Try and pursue something that you've got a little bit more of an interest in. Maybe something that you're passionate about. And you should come up with something interesting and passionate in the end, hopefully.
Definitely. I think for me, putting yourself out there and for other people to see and judge is quite a scary thing to do, really. So, it's quite
Yeah,
liberating
it's
once you do
impressive.
it.
It's impressive. You should be really proud of yourself.
Oh,
I've got a lot of
thank
friends
you.
who've said like, "Oh, we should do a podcast because we're good at talking shit and stuff like that."
Yeah.
But like, I think like for you to actually do it and put the effort in, like the branding, the idea, getting in touch, it's not easy to do that stuff.
No.
It's not easy because if you don't feel like doing it, it doesn't get done. So you've got
Yeah.
to make yourself do it. You've got to kind of force yourself, and it
Yeah.
can be scary. And when things are scary, a lot of the time you don't wind up doing it, especially if you don't have to.
Yeah,
Work
and
for yourself.
I found myself being quite fixated on, oh my God, like for the first podcast especially, I was like, oh, no one's watched it for like an hour, or I haven't had that many likes, and all of that can be quite consuming and make you more anxious. Although it hasn't deterred me, and I really feel like this is something that I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm not being deterred by what other people think, because I know that there'll be people out there who want to hear what you're up to and what I'm up to. So I'm just gonna stick with
That's
it.
great. That's great. Well
Um,
done. Now, well, just knowing anyone having a friend like yourself, Georgie, who's doing this, like I'm just like proud to know it, because as soon as you were like, I've got a podcast, check it out. I don't know how nerve-wracked you were about that first episode, but I listened to it and it came off really clean and
oh, cheers.
professional, and it was informative. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
I've asked a few friends to listen to it who've told me they've enjoyed it, so you've
Nice.
done well so far, girl.
Thank you. You spoke a little bit about like community in Barcelona and your communities at home. I think like having a community base is really important. And if
Yeah.
people were starting out on their like vintage journey, would you welcome people coming to you and asking for guidance and stuff like that?
Of course, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I like clothes and I like getting a good bang for my buck, and I like wearing stuff that other people aren't wearing. That doesn't necessarily mean that anyone else should care. And
Yeah.
it's only people saying to me, "Where did you get that from?" Or like, "I like that, what you're wearing," and stuff like that. Which prompted me in the very beginning to start buying stuff to sell.
Yeah.
So I mean, it already happens now, and I'm just like basically a scally with a paintbrush. So like, if anyone wants to ask me any questions like about what I'm doing or how long I've been doing it or what I think about clothes, like they're more than welcome to ask me.
Oh, cheers. Where can like people get in contact with you and
Yeah, I'm Esco Evergreen on Instagram, and then the brand's account is a Green Collar Clothing. And at the moment, there's a lot of street art up on there, and there's some canvas painting that I've been doing since I've been home on lockdown and stuff. Because I'm trying quite hard to keep that account with no filler, and just everything on there to be like important brand stuff, nice stuff that I think people want to see. And then
yeah.
on my private account, which has got way more people on it, I just basically put everything on there and see what sticks. And if it goes well, I'll take it over to the other account. It's the
Sweet.
idea.
I was gonna ask you something else then as well. How is your creative expression on your clothing been since you've been in isolation? How have you been keeping yourself like entertained enough to be creative, I suppose?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got a couple of other outlets as far as creativity is concerned. With I read, I do a bit of writing as well. I've been trying to make videos content wise and staying fit and that, but just because I'm locked down, I'm not going out, I'm still getting dressed every day. Which I think, whether or not you're into clothes or not, I think that's an important part of being locked down, is that you can't just be in your pajamas all day.
Yeah.
So I'm putting outfits together. I'm putting outfits together every day. After I've worked out and I've got a bath or a shower, I'm picking an outfit, I'm putting it together, and I'm wearing it around the house, sitting in the garden in it, and then I'm so like there's that, and putting an outfit together for me is the most fun part. You know what I mean? That's the most creative part for me, is picking the right pieces and putting them together. You know, for me, all them brands and all them colours, they're just the colours, and when I put it together and then that's a look and a vibe, that's kind of like the canvas. You know what I mean?
So that kind of helps you with the rest of your day once you've got your little
Yeah,
vibe on. Nice.
I feel a lot better once I'm dressed in the appropriate clothing.
I feel the same. Like a morning routine for me is just so important.
Yeah, it is super important. It is super important, and not to just like look directly at your phone as soon as you wake up.
Yeah.
I've been like reading as soon as I wake up, because then I wake up and I'm in a slightly better place. Going downstairs, drinking coffee, and then thinking, what am I going to wear? You know what I mean? And then I'll put an outfit together, which is what I'm always like anyway.
Yeah.
But I haven't stopped doing that, just because I'm locked in the house basically.
Good. So you mentioned some other creative expressions such as writing. Have you got anything for us for you to read?
Yeah, I could read a little something. I've been writing some long stuff, but I found this in an old book for you since you asked. So
Oh, thank you.
just like it's okay. Bear with me. A dusty half moon glows in the still lit pale blue sky. The still air surrounding my body is tepid, but the breeze that creeps across my bare naked shoulders is so cold. In my mind's eye, it's almost visible. I pull more of this frosty air through my nostrils. No smell, just a chill. As I blow warm air back out of my nose, I notice it wouldn't reach my bottom lip before, like my previously undecided mind, the air is changed, cold again. For only one more instant do I consider, not for long at all, only half a second, but very seriously consider, I'm going to wear a scarf when I walk into town in a minute. So
Nice.
that's a story about me deciding I'm wearing a scarf.
I love the way it's all encompassing your fashion and what you're gonna do. It's amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was a good one.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Reese. I really appreciate you coming to speak with me and sharing your abilities and creativeness. I love it.
Thank you. You're very, very welcome, and I'll do it anytime. So, like,
Thank you.
stay in touch. Stay in touch.
I will.